Well, I needed another vintage television and record player and radio combination, like I needed another hole in the head, but here it is. When I saw this, a local eBay seller had this on eBay, and because he was local to me and because he shot me a real good price reduction on it, I found myself not able to say no. And one of the reasons is this Magnavox is a very rare item. I only seen one other like it in my lifetime, and I would say that there's not too many of these in existence anymore. I would say there's probably some around, but not very many. And this one's all complete. It's all there. Here is the turntable, and not very much light in there, but it's the typical really nice Magnavox turntable of 1948. Like I say, it's a very rare piece. I couldn't resist it. It is a very uncommon, not easy to find these. I'm sure there's other ones around, but they're pretty scarce. Now, the top of this thing, the finish on it is obviously it's been scratched. They when they moved it out, I think it was in the basement for a while. When they moved it up out of the basement, they tipped it over on its top and slid it in one place. So, and then here, I would say that something wet, possibly a flower pot. Hard to say, but they had something on here, because this side of the finish is okay other than these scratches, but this side, something caused the surface finish to flake off. So, and the only thing I can think of that would do that would be something that's wet. Now I go down and look here. Here's a typical Magnavox, I think it's 3 bands, broadcast, shortwave, and FM. Here's the phono, TV, bass and treble. And here it says range, minimum, normal, full. I have a feeling that that's referring to the audio. And there's one thing that's not here, and that's the typical green eye tube that goes in a Magnavox like this. And the reason that it's not there is because up here is the turntable mechanism, the changer. So they didn't have room for it, so they didn't put it in this model. Now I know in the same year that was just the radio and record player, and it had the same type of grill cloth, except that the doors went all the way up. I had one for a while. A friend gave it to me, and then I wasn't using it or doing anything with it, and he asked if he could have it back, if I wouldn't mind giving it back, which I did. And I guess he in turn gave it to someone else. But anyways, these are very rare. And like I say, I know that the reason that the eye tube is not here is because there was no room for it when they designed this thing, because of course this model has a television in it. We look at some of the features. Here's the Magnavox logo. Here's something interesting. I cannot discern if any of these knobs are marked as what they do. You know, vertical hold, horizontal hold, contrast, focus. You know, this is a rheostat. I would imagine that's probably the focus. This. Here we have on off and volume. So this model with the model, this particular model that had the just the radio and the phonograph in it, actually had two big speakers down below, plus I believe some tweeters. But this one has a television in it, and I would say that this model is very rare, not easily found. It was made in 1948, so it starts with channel 2, not channel 1. If it was 46, it would start with channel 1. And for the most, other than those scratches there, I could put some old English on that. And there's a little bit of crazing on the finish. I'm not inclined to want to strip this thing down and refinish it. I mean, before I do that, of course, I would want to electrically restore it, but I don't like to strip items, antiques, unless they absolutely need it. However, the sides and stuff can be polished up and left as is. It is, after old, it's an antique. But this will have to be dealt with somehow. I don't know if I can fix it up with a finish restore, or if I'd have to strip it. And of course, it'd be very hard for me to get the color to match. So I'm not sure what I will do at the top of this thing. But it is a very interesting piece and very rare. Okay, anybody that collects these vintage sets knows that if they're answering an ad and you're going out to look at a set and you see a brightener on the tube, generally you try to stay away from it because that means the tube is tired. And in any old set like this, that really is to be expected, that the tube is not going to be very good. And in this case, of course, that's what it is. This had a brightener on it. Now, of course, under the circumstances of how I bought it, I wouldn't have never known that because it was an eBay sale. However, I think that even if I would have discovered this, I would have still purchased it anyways because, like I say, this is a very, very rare piece. You know, look at that. You know, big 15-inch speaker down below. This is really a powerful set. So I would have bought it anyways, but the tube is a 12 kp4. Now I know that 10 JP4s are pretty hard to find. You find those a lot easier than, I don't think a 12 kp4 is something that's easy to come by. So the question is will I restore the chassis knowing that the CRT, if it produces an image at all, you'd have to have the lights out to see it. And I would say yes, I'll still restore it because I can set it up and get it working with my little 5-inch test picture tube, my round picture tube, but you never know. A replacement tube for this could come along one day. So I don't think I'm going to let that stop me from doing the electrical restore on this eventually. Now here, according to the lights on my tester, my B&K, the tube is good, but emissions quite low. It won't make it up into the green. Now here's the interesting thing. It has cutoff, even though it's right on the edge of good. It has cutoff. It does have that. So there will be some contrast at least to the picture, but emissions wise, That's not very good. And this is without the, of course, I don't have the brightener on it. And even with the brightener in it, it doesn't even make it up. And there, it's just creeping up into the green now. So the tube is essentially not good. Now that's something you have to live with unless I find another 12 kp4. So here's the power supply. I took the cage off of it. Pair of 5U4 rectifiers. Appears that there's no filtering on here, that the filtering is all on the television chassis. But this is just the power supply for the television part. Now, I was told that for many years this was in Grandma's bedroom. I believe I got it that the seller was possibly his family was an original owner, but he said it was in his grandmother's bedroom for many years before he got it. And of course here is a religious prayer. Must be possibly Catholic, I don't know, but probably fell off the top of this when it was in her bedroom. Here's some candy wrappers maybe down in there. Pretty dirty, very dirty. The amplifier has 4 6V6 power tubes. This is a healthy amplifier, and there's 2 looks like 5Y3 rectifiers in there, a pair of them, and then of course the radio's up there. Somebody's fooled with this thing. I don't know, I don't think they've done anything underneath the chassis or anything, at least I hope they didn't, like on the Silvertone that I got. But this here is a mystery, and the reason I say that is this plate was there, but if you screw this plate to butt down on this, the tube obviously sticks out way too far. Okay, like I say, I know that somebody's fooled with this thing. They've had the back of this off. None of these screws are original. I don't know if somebody maybe looked at that and thought that maybe they could tinker it back together. I don't think anyone's really molested anything in here. At least I hope they didn't. Like I had with that Silvertone I've been trying to fix. That makes it a challenge in trying to get something working. But like I say, the strange thing is how could this work? There's a couple of rubber bumpers. One fell out. I got it in a box, but here's a rubber bumper went there, and then this plate, and the plate, the only thing I figure is something else went back there, or the tube is sticking out too far. And that I wouldn't understand unless that there's something strange with that tube. It all looks original, of course, but I don't know how this is supposed to work. But all in all, it's all here. And yeah, this is a rare enough piece that it really warrants to be restored. The problem is there is of course the bad picture tube, which may have some image on it, but it'd be very dim. Of course, on these sets, when you restore them, I don't think you restore them to watch them. you restore them to demonstrate them, like a museum piece basically. So I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but yeah, eventually I will work on this set. I will eventually start replacing capacitors, clean it up very good, get all the tubes checked, start replacing capacitors and out of spec resistors, and then test it on the bench with my test tube just to see on the television what I got. The radio and the amplifier, well, that's, I don't know how straightforward that'll be. We'll have to see. So in conclusion, I think this is very restorable except for the weak 12 KRP CRT in it. I don't know if I'll ever find one. If anyone's watching this video knows of one that's available that's got good emissions, I'd be interested to talk about purchasing it. However, I'll still restore this eventually, even with the weak picture tube in it. I did clean up the power amplifier chassis a little bit. It was so filthy. The television is very filthy. I'm going to have to do the same with that. I'll do some cleaning up and kind of going through it. I'll maybe pull the changer mechanism out of it and put it back, put the radio back in correctly. Somebody had it apart at one time and didn't reassemble it quite right. I don't think nothing's broken, but it just needs to be put back together. I'm still confused about this. This I don't understand. The plate that was on there would push very hard against the CRT. So I kind of wonder if this has got some kind of a replacement CRT and the replacement had a longer neck on it than the original. That's the only thing I can think of. Anyhow, like I say, it's a very restorable, and this is one of those old TVs in combo units that's really worthy of restoration, because I think this is really pretty rare. So this will be it for now. This is not a part 1 video or anything. I've got my Dumont Hampton to get to and my Admiral 30C15 to get to. That also has kind of a low CRT in it, but I'll still work on it. The Silvertone that I had been working on, I'm still looking to see if I can get another power transformer for it. Bob Anderson suggested I'll probably have to use 2, and I think he's right. But that project is kind of shelved for now, so I think about the next thing I may be working on might be the Dumont Hampton from 1959. So that'll do it for now.